Hello! I'm back to talk about another one of my Heatwave runs, this time with a much better microphone and audio setup, so it's hopefully not as bad to listen to this time. This is the Heatwave on November 15th, just a couple of days ago, and I really wanted to talk about some of the games in here because I had so much of a blast, and I love this team that I've made. I love the matches that I played. I loved everything that happened about it. So this is my quick tag team. Let me load up in this view. 4 quick tags on the team. 5 tag out or tag in relevant traits. The idea is to activate, get a lot of value out of all of these traits. A lot of cleanup value, a lot of forager value, a lot of welcoming and trait value. Most of that adds up to being healing, so this is a sort of a very healing-centric team, even though there's no individual move that heals any stamina. Not even a torch pass. And also the other idea is to obviously be completely unpredictable. This is a team that is almost entirely focused around mix-ups and tricks and conditioning your opponent. It's a team where if your opponent guesses wrong, they can just lose. They can eat a quick tag whoosh burnout from the front row. Or if they don't see it, they could eat a quick tag and bounce for a free point. Or any number of other things. Quick tag into Raw Fury if they're not expecting it. And I've had a lot of success with this team, a surprising amount of success. Honestly, when I first built this, I felt like it was just a gimmick. Like, surely this is just a meme team that is just built to be funny. But then it just started winning. It just started winning against a lot of people. And it was so much fun to play. It is such a blast. Just thinking through all the different things that you can do with this team, how flexible it all feels. And, of course, outsmarting your opponents, doing the things that they don't predict. So, let's get into the replays. Spoilers, I made it a lot farther in this Heatwave than I did in the last one. I made it to top 8, so there's a total of 15 games that I have replays of here. I'm not going to be going through all of them. Maybe I could upload a separate video that is just the replays without commentary, but there's only a few that I want to actually talk about. This first set was against the Musical Punks, which... Oh gosh, hang on, I gotta go look up what player that is. Okay, the coach for the Musical Punks is Puppin on the Discord. And she is running a team with a Scrubub on it. Not even the middle Evo. Scrubub. And it's very funny because this is actually one of the teams I have more trouble with. This is like the second hardest matchup for the entire tournament is this little thing here. Because, well, I mean, the rest of the team is well constructed. Even the Scrubub is well constructed. It has Precision Strike, so the attacking stats don't really matter. It's all focused on defense, and it's just a supportive defensive beastie. There's a Mudsley with Spitball, Clear Field, and Heatwave. This thing basically never leaves. This is an immortal, infinite healing generator and sweat generator. Grit Dugout, which I'll probably get to at some point. A Lunaptra with Boom, Power Sap, and Dreadful Mist. You don't see a lot of this. And then a Goopster with Perfect Shot, Trick Spin, and Shield. First turn, I do my usual counter serve on this team, which is just raw run up to front with Daredillo. Because of Acrobat, this is a decent counter serve. And against Precision Strike, it's even better because I know I'm not going to... Daredillo can't get hit by that in the front row. And this is immediately a bluff because I actually go for the sideways attack here instead of the raw damage. I think burnout here from the front row isn't a KO on either of those, yeah, they're very defense invested. And I know that Puppin is going to want to go for a Heat Wave immediately, so I just let her do it and I go for the 3 point. Mudsley having done its job, it switches out for the Nitro. The clear fields make the boom on Bongus not very strong. So now we go into just the sort of, well, what the team does. I immediately go for damage. How much damage is this? Yeah, this is a lot of damage on Lunatra. And I believe I scare Puppin into thinking I'm going to go for another free point, because yeah, their response is to move Lunatra to front. And I get the second point. So this is the second game out of 3. I lose the first one. The first one is one of the longest matches of Beastieball I've actually ever played. This Mudsley, like I said, is an immortal healing machine, and Grit Dugout isn't too much of a slouch either, especially with Torch Pass extending the games. The first match took, I think, over 30 minutes to play out of the, 1 hour that we had. This match with Puppin actually goes up right against time in round 1. I think after that first match, though, maybe both of us are a little bit less stall-minded because we don't want to run out the timer. It's just... This, I think, is a misread. I'm not exactly sure why I pivoted into super barrel here. Yeah, I wish I could remember why I did that. Hey, post-recording Wavewise here with a worse audio setup. Sorry about that. The reason that I did that is because I forgot that the scrub up had forward pass, and so I didn't know that Dugout would be able to do enough damage to KO Daredillo. I remembered. It just seems like a huge mistake to me. The Daredillo on this team, this is a recurring big point of this team. The Daredillo on this team has 0 investment in Spirit Defense, which means I mean, anytime you preview any Spirit attack, it is usually hundreds of damage. This grid isn't activated right now, but when it's activated, you can see damage numbers over 200 in previews. Because, again, the team's so flexible, if Daredillo doesn't need to be in, I can just switch it out very easily and get it back in quick tag. It doesn't need to be on the field to be threatening front row burn. So I go for making it good against body and mind, and then if there's Spirit on the field, I just leave. But that can still make it hard for Daredillo to get in, so that's why I have Chill Out on this Bongus to deal with Spirit attackers like this, and make it safe for Daredillo to swap in. And also just against teams that have really strong Spirit attackers. Spirit is very, very strong in the meta right now, and so Chill Out actually gets a lot of usage. Honestly, just with the things that people are running in this tournament, I feel like I probably should have just invested in the Spirit Defense for Daredevil, so that it could at least tank some hits with Acrobat. Here, I'm mostly just kind of waiting for Daredevil to get back. I'm provoking the Dugout because it has Dig. This Dig gets a lot of use. This Dugout heals a lot in all of these matches because I'm constantly attacking it, trying to get it out and trying to make it harder for it to use Grit once it's activated. So I just don't want it to heal. And also, if I'm threatening a wipe next turn with Daredillo, which I could be... Yeah, this with front row bonus is a wipe. Then I don't want it to Torch Pass in anticipation of that. But also, truly, I don't even want to wipe the Daredillo. Or the Dugout, because then it's just going to come back with Sweaty 4 turns later and start sweeping my team. So this turn is the reason why I picked this of these 3 games. I quick tag into Supalair here. I use Provoke on the Mudsley and Freyball, because preventing the Heat Wave is that important. I chalk up my victory in this game to preventing Heatwave from going off. And this is my strategy whenever I'm up against a Grit dugout that doesn't start on counter serve. On counter serve, there's obviously nothing I can do. Every Grit dugout does the Heatwave counter serve every single time. And then I just have to deal with it. I just have to spam chill out. Here they torch past a Scrubub. I think their intention here is probably to stall as long as possible. I think they know the Goofster is pretty threatening with the perfect shot, but my team is decently defensive against it, and the Goofster can't really do much. The Lunaptra also can't really do much, and the Dreadfulness can't stay out because I can just clean up on track. The Grit dugout is the real threat here. So I think Puppin sees that, and they're just like, well, gotta wait 8 turns to have that Grit active. And they have their 2 most defensive members here doing double block every turn. Because the way I'm playing right now, it's pretty predictable when you attack. Obviously, this team does not have to be predictable, but it is right now. Here I blocked the Mudsley. When I was rewatching this, I think even in the moment actually, I was like, this is a misplay. I blocked the Mudsley because in my mind, if the Mudsley attacks the Fruit Folks, the easy receive will let me use set. And obviously if it attacks the Daredillo, it'll get to use set. Forgetting that obviously Spitball would make it angry. They don't even go for that. They go for the double clear field precision strike, which just makes more sense as a play. If I had blocked the Scrubub here, then Fruit Folks will be able to set, which is one of the 2 ways that I can ignore the damage debuffs on Daredillo here. One is cleanup on Trat, and the other is set. I guess the third is just tagging it out because it can tag back in so easily. Which is why Burnout is like the strongest move on this team, and in certain matches the team is just kind of built around playing Burnout as often as possible, every single turn, if you can, if it's powerful enough. Anyway, I guess wrong, so I have to swap Daredillo out. There's no way to clear the damage debuff. And a double debuff Burnout is not very good. Supalair is my next best attacker. I could have gone for bounce on the Bongus here, or even corner shot from the trap. But Puppin sees that I'm not going to do that. And just goes for the double block again. Good read. I scared them early game with the sideways attacks, but then they didn't get so scared that they reacted to it every time. But yeah, there's not much you can. Oh wait, yeah, they thought I was gonna do it then. Okay, I was gonna say there's not much you can do against front row Burnout. I believe Goofster can take that hit, and swap in Goofster would have been the correct read there. But yeah, just one of the dangers of the team. It's very, very hard to read. Alright, next match was against Soulless Reverie, the coach of the Nervous Folks. I guess, missed saving one of these replays, so this is the only game from this match we have to watch. I think this is the second game? And I love this team. Kalarva, Warmask, and Blue Mask all on the same team. And all as attackers, with the support Masquerie and the support Toranker that are just fully built to make this mind trio work. The Kalarva has perfect shot. Splinter perfect shot and shield. Warmask has Splinter with Hunker and Cham. And then the Blue Mask has 3 attacks. Perfect shot, Eagle Blast, and Echo Strike. I have so much respect for people who come into tournaments with teams like this, just showing it all off. That's probably not good phrasing. unfortunately, for Reverie, my team is a pretty good counter to this. Cleanup on Trat means Splinter basically never comes into play, which seems to be how they expect to be able to put on most of their pressure. Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah, also, all three of their attackers have stirring on them, which means it is, like, not worth it to block any of them. This is the only time I go into stirring. Maybe this is the first match, actually. Yeah. Without the block there, this jazzed front row burnout would have one-shot. Would have one-shot a lot of their team. Well, the numbers are obviously aren't accurate right now. Not the blue mask. Yeah, also the defense is very smartly invested in here, actually utilizing the fact that War Mask has a surprisingly high body defense that's invested in even more. And the Blue Mask has no body defense investment, which means it's really, really tanky with Spirit in mind. Larva's a little unfortunate. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about this game. I kind of just keep hammering into them over and over with front row attacks. Although occasionally, because this Masquerade does have Whistle, I'll utilize the Free Folks' Raw Fury. I think, yes, this is a wipe, so they do have to tag out here. There's nothing they can do to stop this. Yeah, just every tool they have, I can just stop it. It's very unfortunate. Even this perfect shot doesn't really do all that much damage. Hang on. I think this is a misplay. Yeah, I should have swapped in. At this point, I wasn't really thinking about defenses. I was just still in the mindset that, well, Dill is my best attacker. And hey, I can get the set off with it, so Jazz Burnout is surely the best possible thing to do here. No. Thump. Front row thump. Would have done it. But, yeah. Just getting that. Even the boom. Even something that isn't their main attacker. I have a Dispel to counter that, and just... No. No drums for you. Yeah, I think they... I don't know what they were reading here. Maybe they just wanted their War Mask to not be at low health anymore. Or they wanted to reset the positioning. Because both my beasties in the front rows makes it even easier to threaten front row Dillo. Wasn't too impactful here, but probably in later games you'll see the combination of Welcoming and Acrobat triggering at the same time can really let Daredillo come back from some places that it should not be able to. Yeah. Here I could have gone for the front row burnout. I choose not to because the Kalarva has shield. I think front row Raw Fury would have gotten the KO. I don't know why I didn't do that either. It's probably going to happen a lot with this team where there's almost every single option at all times. I'm going to look back and say, hey, well, if I just done this one thing, then actually... Yeah, the team can unfortunately apply so little pressure to me right now that I can be free to just tag in Bongus on defense turns. Or tag in Bongus with quick tag on offense turns, and then tag it out for welcoming heals on defense turn. Dillo was at like 10 HP a few turns ago, I think, and now it's at 65. With 2 perfect shots on their team, I kind of don't know why Reverie doesn't just have a second Dispeller here. Like, I don't know, maybe a Conjure or something. I don't really see exactly what value the drums are providing. The healing is obviously nice, but these 3 don't need feelings protection. They have Stirring. No one's going to be using Heat Up on them. Or Stinky, or even like a Provoke, honestly. Sorry, not to criticize the team building. Yeah. Sometimes you randomly just gotta go for the point when you see it and you really think they're just gonna switch out or use a defense play. Very fun team. Mad respect to Reverie for running this. Alright. Match number 3 was against Skarme, the coach of the Silent Birds. We're gonna watch game 2 here. Game 1 is just, it's entertaining in that it's just a lot of misplays on either side. Skarme accidentally free balls one turn. I swap out the wrong beastie, just use the wrong attacks, miss checkmates, etc. It's a bit of a comedy of errors. Game 2, we're both a bit more on the ball. The thing that happens here, honestly, is that Skarme just guesses wrong a lot of the time. And that's not like a knock on them. Just, this team is really hard to guess against. And they just, it's almost threatening 50-50s every single turn. Alright, I should talk about their team though. This is, I might want to call it a hyper-offense team? It's definitely an offense team. It's mono body with this Riplash and Kazalite, as well as a body Goofster with Juggle, and then a support Masquerie, Cheer Dispel, and then this off-type Daradillo with a Confident Pass to sort of be a supporter, Burnout to be an attacker, Provoke to be a supporter. Both of these games are pretty heavy on the Provoke wars. I want to use my Provokes to stop them from using their boosts, and also to stop this Kazalite shield. And they want to use Provokes to stop my quick tags. Provoke is one of the very good ways to shut down a lot of the shenanigans that this team can do. I think neither of the previous teams in this tournament had Provoke. One of them had a Spitball. Spitball can also be a huge problem. But yeah, this is game 2, and they immediately just don't want quick tagging going on. They don't want whooshing going on. These are also games where I have to make very heavy use of cleanup to stop these boosts. If I can't stop them with Provoke, I have to stop them with cleanup, and I try to do it as often as I can, but this team is built to be boosting every single turn. It's built to be hitting you with a front row +2 Castle Thumb every single turn. And that's honestly difficult from a team to deal with. If just a couple of guesses had gone different ways, then I absolutely could have seen myself losing these matches. Yeah, right there immediately. They guess wrong. I think they just think I'm not going to go for the Kazalite, honestly. Or they think I'm not going to... Yeah, maybe they think I'm going to go for the Provoke. This is a lot more times in these games the correct play. I would use a Provoke here to stop the Cheer from going off, and they would read that and switch in Daradillo. Because with Acrobat, Daradillo can take this thump pretty easily. And then I can do a Confident Pass and hit me again. And I just go for the damage when they don't expect it. The Riplash and the Kazalite both cannot take a front row burnout from Dylan. Goofster can. And I feel like Skarme probably should have tagged in Goofsters as like a safety play more often. Just to get that extra turn. Because depending on who Dillo's ally is at the time of the front row burnout, you know, that could put me in a very bad position. That happens later in this game. Yeah, here, just another wrong guess. They think I'm gonna go for the sideways. And like, that's not a bad guess, honestly. With Dillo at such low HP. I also want to point out this turn. This is a boosted Riplash launch coming at me. Daredillo right now is at 31 stamina. And after the combination of both Welcoming and Acrobat, 28 stamina. Only a loss of 3 stamina from taking this attack. Yeah, this is another... I remember this turn, actually. I remember thinking a lot about this turn because Dillo does have enough HP to volley Whoosh front row burnout, and that would KO the Riplash, but Riplash can block or even Cyclone, actually, to remove the front row boost to live it, and that is one of those situations where I'd be in a pretty bad position. I'd have to switch out Dillo immediately, and Trat and Fruit Folks are fully defense invested, but not really built to take big hits from the front row, big boosted hits like this. So instead, I just get Dillo out of there. I bring Dillo in to, like, scare Skarme. To be like, oh, look, I'm going to hit you with the big attack, and then they just leave. I just switch in the Trat so that I can use cleanup this turn. Get rid of last turn's cheer buff and this turn's cheer buff. I remember when playing thinking, man, this team would be amazing with some sideways pressure to like really threaten those hits, you know, force me into the front row against these big attackers. And then I remember Booster does have that. I think Skarme is just not utilizing them as much as they could, at least not in this game. Just bringing in Booster just to take hits like this. Yeah, this is a block. I think they just don't think I'm gonna do Dillo. They think I'm gonna do something else. Definitely could have won, but you know, it ends up being 3-0. Kind of a stomp. Sorry about that, Skarme. Your team's pretty good.